right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makakadash. Also want to give double honors to the elders and apostles that gave me souls, teaching us truth and sincerity. Also who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect that are scattered four corners of the earth, which you so-called Negroes, Latino, Hispanics, Native American Indians. You know, the true Israelites is coming out, the elect nation of Israel that the Lord is dealing with in no other nation, all right? So, you know, this particular lesson, you know, was dealing with the vibrations of Edom. You know, I forgot what elder or what brother put the video up, but I noticed as time progressed, they're hearing and knowing the words of the Lord is coming true, and they're trying to do as much to discredit the truth that's getting pushed out. All right, to the caliber that's saying that Esau is basically done away with. You know, now one thing that a lot of people out here, especially Jake, y'all take things that is fed to you and you run with it. The Lord doesn't deal with a gullible spirit. You know, our elders and apostles always say, you know, don't take our word for it. Go research it yourself. You know, and there's always books. Like if you go to, we don't have Borders anymore. We got Barnes and Noble. If you was to go to the bookstore, look up some things that credits the scriptures, you'll be like, oh, the scriptures are actually true. The words of Yahweh Shai are legit. All right. And there was this book that I see certain brothers with saying who was Esau, Edom, and in the cover it looks like who? So-called white man. Okay. Now then you just gotta also put not necessarily a compare and contrast, but you got to look at things in the forefront in the spirit. Like when it breaks down certain scriptures, you know, you got to look at life. So let's get Job 9:24. Says the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judge thereof. If not, where and who is he? And you know, you look at it's Esau, Edom, and you got the high chiefs, which is Amalek, the so-called, you know, Jewish, the ones, the elites who run the world. And when you put it into, like, you know, presidencies, people who run these companies, like for the food market, the industry, when you look at these CEOs, you're not really going to see Jake. You really don't see Jake at all. And like I said, when you go to the UN, the United Nations, you don't see Jake at all either. Like you might see like a straight up Hamite to use that as a distraction, but they're not part of the 12. Okay? So you can see everything that this man's done. You know, he's still out there. It's just not, he's at a not lower vibration, but you know, he's not as wild as he was before, but yet he's still, you know, that murderous man. So let's got some scriptures. Because, you know, that was another thing that they done. They took away our biblical heritage. Like when you get in Psalms 83, man, it tells you the chief priests of Edom, from Amalek. That's the so-called white man, even though the other nations were involved. But the main, they said we got the main character that main hero and we got the main villain. You got Jake, which is the main hero, and the main villain is Esau, Edom. Okay? Like I said, the scriptures say, is Jacob I love, but Esau I hated. He's always at the top. That's why the scriptures like Psalm 37. Grab that. No, not 37, Salakia. That's actually a good one, though. It says, fret not thyself because evildoers, neither be thy envious against the workers of iniquity. You know, because they're the ones who prosper daily. You know, getting over, they can work the same job as you, but yet they can afford a lake house. And when you look at these elites, man, they just pray on their bed, waking up to do evil. So you know, you can see the resume and there's biblical history too. What group of people was done away with? The Edomites were not done away with. Okay, they're here because that's why. It was a good statement that I forgot what elder. I think it was Elder Apostle Ramah. He said, "Yo, there's prophecies in the Old Testament that hasn't been fulfilled yet. Okay, look at the book of Obadiah, man. That hasn't been fulfilled yet. So you know, we got this truth, and we not gonna be deceived by these guys' lies, man. Because you got a history. That's why the scriptures say." You know, because we want payback, because now we have record of what these devils done to the children of Israel, but there's no recompense for it. All right, so let's grab this. I'm gonna grab Psalms. I'm sorry, not Psalms. Proverbs 11, and I'm gonna grab Zechariah. This is Proverbs 11 and verse 1. It says, a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. So knowing and seeing, let's just say, these people, when you look at the times when they, like the 70s, 60s, when they were lynching Jake, hanging Jake, we knew the color and identity and had the idea of these so-called, this nation. Right? They did all this, all the way to slavery, to civil rights movements, and all that. You know, look what they did to Emmett Till. But we can't say they're the Edomites. So let me grab this one, Zechariah, real quick, just to line up the resumes. You know, of Edom. This is, like I said, let's claim they're not Edom though, but it has to fit somebody. All right. This is Zechariah 1:15. It says, "I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased, and they helped forth the affliction." Because you know, the Israelites are the Lord's chosen people, but yo, you can send the heathens to, you know, be the whipping stick. But what Edom did, he took an overdrive. He went overboard. You know, like when you look at a real kingdom, yeah, you can have slaves, but like I said, it gave to the record of Emmett Till. You know, when you get to John 10:10, it gives you, you know, rob, steal, kill. You know, to you know, just to the forefront, man. So do you think it's not going to be a recompense? You know, when I was bringing out that Proverbs 11, that's why I say, you know, in Revelations, And that's why a lot of people always try to skip the scriptures, because Revelations will give you basically the full end sum of what's going to happen. So from everything that you've done to us, to the Negroes, the rape of the Latino Hispanics, the slaughter of the Native Americans, you know, we got the Trail of Tears, you know, you guys got to pay for it. So that's why Revelations 13 and 10 is going to happen. It says, he that leadeth with slacking, let me slow down. It says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killed with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. You know, and when that word, you know, patience going to suffering. All right, to suffer. And we went all through those afflictions. Now when you get into like I said, the Proverbs, it's going to be a flip. Deuteronomy 30 and 7. It's going to be a flip. But we have record in history that you guys really, like I said, let's say that Edom is not the so-called white man, but this white man does have a record that fits the scriptures, you know? And like I said, we got record of history. So we can put two and two together. Okay? And you can't hide from the Lord, man. And let's just put it like this. If, like, 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, it says, Esau is the beginning of the world, but Jacob is the next that follow it. Who's really running the world right now? Alright? Like I said, when you see, like, some of these CEOs, they look like, feel like a so-called white man to me, you know? Look like Edomites to me, blue collar, you know, got the suit, shaved. And you guys are just crediting and trying to hide it, because now it's time for you it's time for your persecution. It's time for us to ask and judge you of the things that happen. All right? And let's get back to, like I said, the full truth of it. Because when you get into other scriptures in Revelation, because it tells you about Esau and Edom. You know, he was basically, you know, he came out white, and he was blessed with what? The sword. So when you get into Revelation in the 6th chapter, it says, let's get to the 4th verse. It says, and there went another horse that was red. What was that? It's Edom. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. And when you go back to Genesis, what was Esau blessed with? He was blessed with the sword to take the fatness of the earth, okay, to have it more abundantly. And who is that light linked up with? And when you even look at Esau, Edom, he was a man that liked to hunt. He sold his birthright for uncooked lentils. Now, when you do compare and contrast of today, what nation or what group of people likes to hunt? Majority of the time, yeah, we got some you know, I mean, natives, they will hunt just because that was their native land, just to survive. But when you look at it, who likes to hunt for sport is the so-called Edomites. Okay, who likes to eat raw venison or whatever, that deer meat or whatever. Okay, who has blood in their meats. who rather likes to eat their steak with a little blood in it, medium well or rare, whatever. I don't know. All I know is that when you cut into that meat, it's pink. All right. It's you guys, so-called white man, Esau, Edom. All right. And there's no hiding it. He's still here. Okay. And it's just going to be a matter of time until he fully shows his horns. But, you know, I didn't want to be too long-winded. But nevertheless, again, we want to give all honor, glory, and praises due to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Akakadosh. And again, that were honors to the elders and apostles, their great millstones, teaching this truth and sincerity, and also rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect that are scattered four corners of the earth. I want to close out, say shalom, and on to the next lesson.